Bond Teams of Destrana, Book 1, The Feral Within. Long ago, the world of Destrana was kept safe by bond teams, special people selected from many, many worlds, and bonded with creatures of this world called bonders. The bonders would wait in a dimension known as the Astral Rift until they chose their bond partner. But one day, a strange, unknown power drove the bonders out of their dormant dimension, and they became savage and attacked people in bond teams. Paired bonders even attacked their partners occasionally, if their will was weak enough. Strong distrust was seen in the bond teams because of this, and so those that remained unaffected by the unknown power had to continue to protect Destrana in secret. My name is Blaze, and I write this in the hope that someday, when this is all over, our deeds will be remembered long after we're gone. A few years ago, I was brought into an ongoing battle that I at first was not sure I would be ready for. A battle that went way beyond just keeping the peace in Destrana. Blaze is the name I chose for myself when I arrived on Destrana, where my bonder, a Flamorph, appeared and bonded with me. I chose the name Morferno for him. Together, we are part of a bond team, though the term might be different, depending on the person using it. Morferno has two powers. He can read my mind at any and all times. Because of this power, his second one, morphing, can be used at an advantage. Unfortunately, there is a drawback with his mind-reading powers. My mind is the only one he can read. I think it's about time I tell you a bit about myself and my last day on Earth before I was called to Destrana. I'm about mid-height for my age, with an athletic build, fast, fit, and agile, which accounts for the gymnastics classes I used to do on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, and my martial arts classes the rest of the week. I've advanced a lot on both, and when I was still on Earth, I'd even almost reached black belt with 3 tabs. In fact, my sensei once told me I'd advanced faster than anyone else he'd ever tutored. One Saturday, I was taking a shortcut home through the Wetlands Walk. About halfway through the track, there's a Moiraki boulder donated by Moiraki Town. It's taller than the tallest Globetrotter. I gotta say, I'm amazed it would be shipped all the way here to the States. And don't ask me how they managed to even ship such a large boulder. But when I saw it that day, it was glowing with a pulsing light. Then a voice came from it. The voice spoke to me. Rio, you are chosen to form Destrana's newest bond team. From this moment on, the only part of your life on Earth you will remember is this day. Other than that, it will be as if you grew up on Destrana. Your bonder will appear to you shortly after you wake up in Vescon, your home village. Before I could do or say anything, my memories of living on Earth, except for the day I left, were somehow wiped out, leaving me with memories of a life on Destrana. When I woke up the next morning, the day after my 21st birthday, the first thing I saw, as usual, was the ocean below the cliffs outside my window. It was a clear, warm day, and I could smell the calming sea below me. I sat there, savoring the sights and sounds and smells. Then, after a while, I got up and went outside to do my daily tasks. After gathering some wood for the day, I decided to go to the secret fishing spot in the Scrana marshes and catch a few swordfish, hopefully enough to last several days. So I packed my gear into a cart I'd hitched up to Snowfire, my horse, put my saddle on her, and after making sure I had enough food and water for about 3 days, I set off on Snowfire. To tell the truth, the only reason I call it the secret fishing spot is because hardly anyone uses it, so there's usually plenty of fish there. But it's not exactly as if not many people know about it. Also, this particular fishing spot is a puzzling mixture of fresh and salt water, fed by some underground water source in the form of a huge lake, so you can catch virtually any kind of fish here. When I got there today, though, I saw, near the water's edge, a small stone about the size and shape of my mineral egg. a small, egg-shaped piece of metal I'd found a few years ago at a traveling market that came through our village about once a year. One day, I happened to get a life-threatening virus. The mineral egg was under my improvised pillow of fresh greenery, and when I reached under for it for comfort, it grew warm in my hand abnormally fast, and moments later, I was as fit as ever. The only explanation I had for it was that the egg had some sort of healing power. In all honesty, I doubt that the stall owner knew about the egg's healing powers, or he probably wouldn't have brought it with him, let alone flash it around for sale. This stone, though, seemed to be transparent, because I could clearly see an orange-blue pulsing light glowing from within it. Then, an amazing thing happened. The light seemed to pulse faster and stronger, and then it was as if there was no room left for the energy the light seemed to be radiating, and it came out of the stone and seemed to form a more solid mass of fire above it. And somehow, I knew the moment I saw the fireball that it was an intelligent living being. Then a voice that, for some reason, sounded like the voice that spoke to me from the glowing Moiraki boulder, said to me, "Rio, do you remember me?" The voice seemed to be inside my head, and even though the fireball didn't have any eyes or anything, at least none that I could see, I somehow got the feeling it could see anyway. "I know you're confused and shocked," the voice, or maybe I should say the fireball, said to me. "But if you think back to your last day on Earth, you will know me." Then I finally realized why the voice sounded so familiar. It was the kind of voice I'd always imagined my little imaginary friend from my childhood to have. "Zeke," I said, finally getting my wits back, "is that really you?" "Yeah, it's me. There's something you need to know. Destrana is plagued by rogue bonders. No one knows what's causing them to go rogue, or why, but when they cause trouble, it's up to us bond teams to stop them. Many and all races are chosen for this task, and every one of them has their own skills, like your prowess at gymnastics and martial arts." Sorry about that, guys. "Wait a minute," I said. "You mean I'm not the first?" "No, not even close. You're one of the many millions over many millennia." This was beginning to get a bit much for me, but before I could ask anything else, Zeke said, "Wait, a rogue's coming. Remember how our imaginary battles were like?" Yeah, I said, half nervous and, surprisingly, half excited. "Well, get ready to live 'em for real." "Zeke," I said, "battle fuse!" Zeke grew bigger and encased me in a sort of living battle suit. The suit was as clear as the stone had been, and seemed to be just as much a part of me as my own skin was. I didn't feel it on me. It was weightless and impossible to feel, except for a warmth that seemed to invigorate me in a way that no other experience had. Just as we finished fusing, a rogue Zenu crashed through some nearby scrub a few feet in front of me. Or us? It's hard to know how to describe us when we're fused. I should talk to Zeke about that. I didn't know it was a Zentu at the time. Zeke had told me later. The Zentu crouched, cat-like, readying itself to spring. Zeke, hearing me think my needs, created a sword and retaliate shield, a sort of kite shield covered with spike studs, all of which were made of fire steel for me to use. Suddenly, the rogue Zentu lunged, but I dodged, only just avoiding it. Before the Zentu could prepare itself for another lunge, I came at it, marveling at how much faster and stronger, both in mind and body, our battle fuse had made me, knocking the Zentu over with my shield, giving it bloody marks, and fatally slicing through it with my sword as easily as a hot knife through butter. The Zentu struggled for a moment, then went still. "Whoa!" I cried. "I can't believe I did that! That's so rocked!" "No kidding," said Zeke. "We did great!" Just then, the rogue Zentu faded away to nothing. "Hey, where'd it go?" I said, surprised. "Well, for some reason, once a rogue is slain, it ceases to exist on Destrana. Fortunately, after the rogue is purified, by what, I have no idea, it comes back to Destrana as soon as it chooses a partner." See, if a bonder lives on Destrana, it must have a partner. But like I said, something's making the bonders go rogue. I think we should go home so we can talk in safety. Okay, but I still need to catch at least a day's worth of food. I need to save the dry stuff I packed for long journeys. So, after about an hour of catching sorties, that's short for swordfish for those of you that can't work it out, with my handheld harpoon, which is really not much more than a pole with a large metal barb at the tip with a rope attached to the other end, I loaded Snowfire's cart and prepared to mount up, as the saying goes. But Zeke said, "Oh, you don't need to do that." "Why not? Don't you remember the bio you wrote about me? I can morph anything you can think up." "Oh, yeah," I said, embarrassed. "I forgot." So he morphed the cargo jet I thought up for him, and after I loaded everything in, Snowfire, cart, and all, I sat down on a water couch, very comfy those things, to enjoy a very cozy ride back home. "So," I said, once we were back at my place, "why is Destrana so dangerous? I thought it was a peaceful world." I was chowing down on a large portion of sortie, while Squen, my best friend from next door, smoked the rest of them so they would keep long enough for the days ahead. Well, I say next door, but my own place wasn't exactly in Vestcon itself. Squen and I had been BFFs since we were kids, and he often comes over to help me with my chores, and sometimes he even offers to do them for me. I don't know why he's called Squen. I think it's a weird name, but when I asked him about it maybe a year ago, he only said he had his reasons, so I left him to it. Zeke had taken on the form of Zach, a friend of mine from Earth. He looked most like some kind of traveling warrior, what with the sword strapped to his back and a hunting knife at his waist. Not to mention the travel-worn look. Of course, Zach never looked like that on Earth. While Zeke was flying Snowfire and me home, I found a loophole in the Earth memory thing. Even though I could only remember what happened on the day I was called to Destrana, I could still remember everything I considered important and everything that happened to me repetitively on Earth. I think Zeke wanted me to find that loophole because he somehow got us home right after I found it out. "Well," said Zeke, "about 3 days ago, I noticed this rogue Zentu skulking around Vestcon. This was before Rio and I met. I noticed he was deliberately avoiding saying anything Bond team related. To tell the truth, that was about the day I got here from New Mech, and—" "No way!" said Squen. "You really came all the way from New Mech?" "Oh yeah," said Zeke casually. A little too casually, I thought. "Don't worry, folk around New Mech are the toughest villagers on Destrana." No offense, Rio." "None taken," I said. "Anyway," said Zeke, "that's why it's not such a big deal to me. So, I noticed that rogue Zentu skulking around Vestcon. But the weird thing was I didn't see a partner with it." "Wait," I said, "how come no one else knew about the rogue? Word travels fast in this village. Once someone knows something, the whole village will have heard about it by nightfall." "Yeah," said Squen. "I mean, we're a big village, sure, but we all know each other here." "Well, mostly." I noticed Squen glance directly at me as he said that last part. "Well," said Zeke, "whatever's making the unmatched Bonders go rogue is also somehow commanding them. And since Zentus don't really like taking orders in the first place, even from their own kind, it's like a huge flashing neon arrow pointing out the rogue problem." There was a pause then, and I decided to use the break in our little council to trade a few thoughts with Zeke. And since thought happens faster than spoken words, we discussed quite a lot. "Hey Zeke, why are you avoiding saying anything Bond team related?" "Because some rogues can morph just as well as me, or even better. Bond teams can never truly trust anyone besides other Bond teams." "And what made you mention coming from New Mech anyway?" "No real reason. I just wanted to throw some big shot thing in there." "Look, guys," said Squen, I need to be honest with you. I heard what you were thinking to each other. I matched with an Adaplator. I called him Elomorph. He can morph into any kind of element." "Show us," challenged Zeke. "Elomorph," said Squen, "I call you to my side. Air!" Then, in a gust of wind, a mist streamed down the ramp to my cliff-face home and concentrated itself into a shape I never expected to see.